In the shadows of this beautiful forest, beneath the calls of birds and the whisper of leaves, a darker truth lives on. A truth that reminds us that the line between human and animal is thinner than we think. With war, dominance, and survival, these are not just human stories, but they are written deep in nature itself. I am Okello Enock, and I'm coming live from here, Kibale National Park, to be able to give you the experience of the chimpanzee civil war in Uganda. Stay tuned here. Let's roll deeper down together.
Two wars, countless conflicts, and now we have a new one to add to the list. Except this time it's not between nations, it's between chimpanzees. As if human wars weren't enough. And before you laugh, listen to this. These chimps lived together for 29 years.
There is something running around all over the world that I'm sure you have heard of, but you don't know how it is coming about. The chimpanzee civil war. Now, we know the primates are the closest mammals to human nature. 98% DNA is shared with humans. And I think that 2% is why you see they have a lot of hairy bodies, the structure of their faces, and the fact that they can't actually speak out the way we can. However, all the habits, the way of living, the care for their families, the communication, the way of handling is all connected to human nature. Now, back to business. Why are all the countries, the CNN, BBC, Uganda, Bukede, what, everywhere, they're talking about the chimpanzee civil war? First of all, let us understand the meaning of civil war. Civil war is when organized groups come together or come up to fight for independence. In the chimpanzee dormitory, when we come to Uganda, we have the Western dominancy, we have the Central dominancy, and the Eastern dominancy. Western dominancy being the least populated, and then the Central being the biggest populated. Most of the leaders or the conquerors are in the Central, and this time around, the civil war is coming, or the attacks are coming from the Western docket, attacking the Central docket. Here in Uganda, there's the Ngongo Science Research Hub, which was focusing on monitoring how these primates are living, how the day-to-day life is doing, and everything. And 4 days ago, they actually came up and were like, well, something has been going on that we didn't pay attention to, but we have justified.
And his name is Ruhweza. Ruhweza means somebody who sees a lot. And Ruhweza is one of the influential boys. When you look at his ears, they are a lot of cuts.
Do they know that it's the Westerners attacking the Centrals? The way you see that we are Ugandans, but then we have Baganda in the Central, we have Eastern where we have Basoga, Bagwere, and those. The way we identify as Baganda, Banyankole, Bachiga, but that's the same thing because they can identify. Now, how it has been noticed that out of the attacks, about 27 have been confirmed dead and injured. And out of the 27, 24 are actually from the Central, 14 being infants of the Central. And because it's the dominant clan or the dominant group in the chimpanzee sector right now, they are attacking them so that they can win over the power to be the rulers.
Ruhweza, about 2.5 years, was fighting for dominance. So he was at war with the alpha of that time. It is the alpha who beat his ears. And when his ears were beaten, he first gave up. But he did not give up completely. So last 2 years and 2 months, Ruhweza mobilized his colleagues. They made a gang of about 5 males, all in their mid-20s. And they plotted against their alpha. So they staged a coup and had their alpha murdered. None of them dominated because later they disagreed and started fighting themselves.
They groomed each other, they raised babies together, they shared food and territory. And then something broke, and now they're killing each other. Scientists call it a chimpanzee civil war. The Kibale National Park is home to one of the most studied chimpanzee communities on the planet. A group of scientists called it Ngogo. For at least 2 decades, Ngogo was known to be the largest wild chimpanzee community in the world. Around 200 individuals living together, grooming each other, raising babies, and sharing territory. For 2 decades, this was peace until it wasn't. Around 2015, something strange started to happen. Chimps who used to hug started avoiding each other. Soon that distance turning into a division. The community split into 2 factions. the Western group and the Central group, and that's when things got ugly. This is what scientists are now calling the Chimpanzee Civil War. Only the second one ever recorded. The first was observed in 1970s by Jane Goodall, and even she called it the dark chapter of human behavior. Now it's happening again. The Western chimps began conducting patrols. We're not talking about random kills, we are saying planned raids. Single file matches only looking for one thing, an isolated enemy. When they find one, they'd attack in groups.
So what causes this is the way you've seen we've been we've been writing during our election time. You want to change leadership. So in our previous video, we saw Ruhweza, who joined energy with a few other superior males to attack the person who was leading. Why am I calling them person? Okay, just bear with me because it's 98% DNA shared. So Ruhweza and the group attacked the leader. After killing the leader, of course, there is no ruler. There is no person taking control of the community, or there's no, let me say, president, meaning there had to be someone else to take on the throne. However, these people after fighting, these chimpanzees after fighting, you're going to pardon me whenever I say people, just know I mean the chimpanzees, they failed to agree on who should take on the throne as the superior male. And remember, when the male has died, it's like how Baganda is saying, apparently there's no dominant male, meaning all communities are going to come up wanting to have a dominant male from their community because they all want what? Power. Like I told you, these things are so close to humans. When they killed the dominant male, they failed to agree on who should actually take over power. Another thing would be the breakdown of social clusters or social structures. In this case, talk of clans. Now, for example, we have clans and we have the central clan being the biggest, and it is the one with power. However, the population goes on growing, and at the end of the day, you see that the current ruler is not strong enough to rule because every day a new male is going to come, a stronger male is going to come, and of course they will want to change power, or they want to overthrow and take over power from the current leader. And another thing, when these clusters broke up, a lot of connection was broken. Many males lost their lives, meaning all the potential people, all the potential chimpanzees, why do I keep saying people? All the potential chimpanzees that would take over power and take control as the dominant males, at that moment, their lives were lost. Meaning there was a threat of actually getting a proper candidate or an eligible candidate to take over power. Some of those who were thought eligible, actually, one of them emerged as a leader. However, as a dominant male, you have to be a person who brings people together or who brings your colleagues together. But in this case, was showing signs of breaking the bond that connects them. Another thing is because it is nature, a lot of things break down. Some are wounded, and in the long run, you find that they are affected by various diseases. So also diseases came as a threat around 2017, and very many of the let me say like the judges, the way when your judges die in your family, you find that every person, you even no longer have family meetings, kumanyagana and all that. The way judges keep their history, they keep the background of the family, they keep you people together. It's the same thing here. So those 14 who were confirmed dead were one of those old ones who actually kept the groups moving. Actually, at that time it was one. So they kept the community together. And because they died, it means there was no strong bond. There was no people I keep saying people, oh my God. There were no leaders or superiors to bring them together or keep them together the way they should have been. And at the end of the day, we had that separation because it was once one group, but now we have Western, which is the Ngongo community, and then the Central, the one in Kibale. So those are some of the things that are causing the current chimpanzee civil war. But feel free to enlighten me because I'm not all-knowing. Even research doesn't have everything. Google doesn't have everything. And even the people I consult from. Anyways, we are all geniuses here and we are all knowledgeable here. So feel free to teach me as I teach you. Thank you.
Guys, this war is believed to be the second of the kind to have happened in human history. With the first one happening back in 1970, that was fully captured by Jane Goodall. And then now we have this happening, and of course the scientists say that This is something that started happening back in 2015. That's when they started realizing that funny kind of behavior coming out from the chimpanzees. The chimpanzees that used to hug themselves, they would no longer hug each other. The chimpanzees that used to live together, they had started boycotting one another, and eventually there was a split between the two chimpanzees. The ones that there came two groups that got formed in that time, and along the way, of course, these groups that have been labeled as the western side of the chimpanzees and also the eastern side of the chimpanzees. But it's believed that the western side is the one which is very aggressive, and it's actually the one that attacks, the ones in the eastern side. There are very few, remember, the ones in the western side, but they are more aggressive. And also we have got to put in consideration, this is one of the biggest chimpanzee settlement actually in the world. For about the past 2 decades, this settlement of Kibale National Park has been taking that rank out as the biggest settlement, in the world when it comes about chimpanzees. We have got over 200 of them in the settlement, so it's quite one of the biggest settlements. And so there are thoughts that maybe one of the reasons why this could have happened could have been also the fight for space and all this, because the number is big. But of course the key reason is that the leaders of these chimpanzees died. So it's actually believed that the elders of the chimpanzees were the ones that loved so much, unity, living together, communal existence of these chimpanzees as one. And so when they died, these other young leaders that have been appointed to lead now the groups seems to be the ones causing division. But also others say that maybe it could have been out of outbreak or something, maybe diseases or something could have come out and caused that kind of a segment. So, but that's really what happens here. And this is a story that comes back from 2015, you can imagine, and it's coming over now, and now it is becoming something so serious in 2026. So let's be able to check around and be able to see some of these actions, see some of these chimpanzees that have settled in these areas, and then also get a lot more information regarding this particular civil war, which is not human, that we could call out to maybe President Donald Trump and be like, what, speak out, call out for ceasefire. This is not human, though, so this is purely animal. But also it gives us that understanding that the human behavior is really depicted from this kind of behavior of animals, because a chimpanzee is about 98.7% sharing DNA with humans, So they are the closest relatives that we have, the closest humans, relatives to human that we have. And so it should be affecting us directly. We should be feeling the pain. We should be able to have the understanding that, what is happening, this is really what is happening to us. It's happening to us, the closest to these people, So that's quite a significant case. And guys, it's a hard one. Like I said before, let's go and let's experience this, man. Stay in here. If you have not hit the word subscribe, and get some little facts about the chimpanzee civil war in Uganda in 2026. I am Okello Enock, and I'm happy to be joined by you. I want to be in my community. Hit the word subscribe, and let's stick together. Let's go, guys.
At first glance, this forest feels alive with harmony, sunlight, slip through towering trees, insects hum, birds call across the canopy, and somewhere in the distance, the chorus of hoot echoes. Chimpanzees, our closest living relatives. But behind their intelligence, behind their social bonds, lies something more unsettling, something disturbingly familiar. Chimpanzee society is not peaceful. It is political, calculated, and at times brutally violent. Every group is ruled by an alpha male, not just the strongest, but the most strategic. Power here is not given, it is taken, defended, and constantly threatened. Alliances are formed in shadows, friendship are temporary, trust is fragile, because in this forest, dominance is everything. And when dominance is challenged, war begins. It often starts quietly, a shift in behavior, a break in loyalty, a growing tension between neighboring groups. Males begin to patrol the borders of their territory, moving in single file, silent, focused, listening for the slightest sign in intrusion. They are not wandering, they are hunting. When they find a river chimp alone, the forest changes. The silence shatters, screams erupt, branches snap, bodies collide in a blur of tears and fury. This is not a fight for warning, this is execution. The attackers show no mercy, they bite, they strike, they overwhelm with coordinated precision. What follows is not quick, it is prolonged, deliberate, and terrifying, because this is not just violence, this is strategy. Over time, these attacks are repeated and again and again and again. Each encounter weakens the rival group, each loss shifts the balance of power until one side begins to collapse. This is how chimpanzee war is fought, not in one battle, but through calculated destruction, a slow, relentless campaign of dominance. In Kibale National Park, researchers have witnessed these patterns unfold. Entire communities fractured, alliances broken, individuals hunted by those they once lived beside. What was once family becomes enemy, and perhaps the most chilling part of it all is how familiar it feels. These are not mindless creatures acting on instinct alone. They plan, they cooperate, they anticipate, they understand power, and they understand fear. Young chimps watch and they learn. They grow into system where survival depends not just on strength but on loyalty, timing, and sometimes cruelty. Because in this world, hesitation can be fatal. Even after victory, the violence does not end. The winning group expands its territory, resources increase, status is secured, but peace is temporary. Because somewhere beyond the trees, another group is watching, waiting. And so the cycle continues. In the shadows of this beautiful forest, beneath the calls of birds and the whispers of leaves, a darker truth lives on. A truth that reminds us the line between human and animal is thinner than we think. War, dominance, survival, these are not just human stories. These are written deep in nature itself. And here in Kibale National Park, they still are being told in silence, in shadows, and in blood.